Hello and welcome to the third CalSHRM Insights webcast. I'm your host, Jan Hefner. CalSHRM Insights is a series of webcasts brought to you by the California State Council of SHRM. They're designed to provide you with the most up-to-date information on California HR topics while giving you the opportunity to earn educational credits. Today's webcast will be recorded and available for viewing on CalSHRMAwards.com. Throughout the webcast, you can tweet your questions using our hashtag CalSHRM Insights. And now you can also text us your questions at 916-900-2795. Our guest speaker will be answering select questions after each segment. With us today is HR Manager Susan Susko, the past president of Kern County SHRM. She'll be helping out today with our question and answer sessions, as well as presenting the CalSHRM chapter update. Good afternoon, Susan.
Good afternoon, Jan.
And joining her is Robin Paggi. Robin is the training coordinator at WorkLogic HR. Now, Aaron Lunn of CalSHRM Awards will join us later to present a new feature on the webcast, CalSHRM Resources. Thanks to both of you for being here today.
Thank you.
What are you talking about today, Robin?
Well, some new employment laws and some modified employment laws that employers and HR professionals need to know about in order to stay in compliance.
Oh, it's going to be a busy day, I'm sure. Thanks, Robin. I just want to remind everyone to tweet or text your questions. Now let's jump right into it, shall we, Robin?
You bet. The first one we're going to talk about is the Fair Pay Act, otherwise Senate Bill 358. And this is not some groundbreaking legislation that now says employers have to pay men and women equally. That's been in effect for a long time, since 1949, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so some people didn't get that memo. But that was Labor Code 1197.5. So what the Fair Pay Act does is modify that labor code in a variety of ways. And so one of the ways is that instead of employees having to perform equal work in order to receive equal pay, they now have to perform substantially similar work. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same. So for example, if you had a janitor and a housekeeper who were performing essentially the same work, but the janitor might be getting paid more because janitor sounds more authoritative than housekeeper does. If people are performing essentially the same work, they have to be paid the same. Another thing that is modified is that it used to be that employees could only challenge the pay of people performing equal work in the same establishment that the employer has. Now, if the employer has multiple establishments, employees can challenge their pay throughout all of the establishments. So, for example, if you have an employer that has a facility in Berkeley and one in Oakland, they probably should be paid the same because the cost of living in those areas is the same. So it goes from just being able to challenge in one establishment to any establishment that the employer has. Of course, if you have somebody who has an establishment in San Francisco and one in Bakersfield, you get to pay people in Bakersfield less as a result of the cost of living being less. One of the things that the Fair Pay Act does also is it increases the burden of proof for employers for why they are paying people differently. So certain things that employers can do, they can pay people differently for performing essentially the same job because of a seniority system. People have been around longer, you pay them more. Because of merit. People have more credentials, more education, you can pay them more. Because they produce more or at a better quality. Or for any other bona fide reason that is not based upon sex. So employers must be able to demonstrate if they are paying people differently for performing the same work, that's why they're doing it, because of one of those reasons. And what this does now is lowers the burden of proof for employees to challenge the reason that employers are paying people differently. And one of the things that helps them in challenging that is that the Fair Pay Act allows them to ask how much people are making. So I was taught that you're not supposed to ask people how much they make, nor are you supposed to tell how much you make. Yes, well, that goes out the window. And so I'm glad I'm not impolite. I was just on the cutting edge of legislation. So employees have been able to discuss their wages for a long time. What this does is says that employees can now say, how much are you making? How much are you making? And can ask the employer how much people are making in order to ensure people are being paid fairly and consistently. And so if employers have had a don't ask, don't tell policy about pay, get rid of it.
Yep.
So this is my advice to HR professionals and employers. Conduct a wage audit. Go through all your compensation plans and what you're paying people. Make sure that you do not run afoul of this. Inform the people who are making pay and compensation decisions, and get some legal counsel if you need to in order just to make sure that you are doing it right.
Also, check those employee manuals. Make sure that you don't have the language in there.
Oh, very good. Anything that's written, job descriptions, anything that is written down that has to do with pay, check it.
Great.
That's it on that one.
Okay.
So the next one is piece rate compensation. And so this is Assembly Bill 1513. So not all employers pay people on piece rate. Ones that do usually include those in agriculture, transportation, carpet cleaning, writing, just people who produce things by piece. And so what the law had been was that people get paid for how much they produce, not necessarily any downtime. And so for employees who are paid salaries or non-exempt employees, we have breaks and we have time when we're not exactly doing our work, but we're still getting paid. Well, piece rate employees did not have that. They got paid for what they produced, and any downtime was not paid. Well, this legislation says that employees must be compensated for their rest periods as well as other non-productive time. Other non-productive time is defined as any time under the employer's control when it's not a rest period. Additionally, employers have to provide itemized pay stubs that differentiate between what is the rest time, what is the non-productive time. And non-productive time must be paid at least minimum wage, and rest period is at least minimum wage or a complicated average of how much they're making and that kind of stuff. And so I don't do math, so I won't go into that. Now the thing is that employers were supposed to have been paying this for several years because of some court cases that happened. So there have been lots of court cases challenging prevailing wage. Piece rate compensation. And so employers should have been paying this because of those court cases from July 1st, 2012. So they're going to have to go back and pay former employees and current employees what they should have been paying them. And they have until December 15th of this year to make it happen. And so they don't want to wait around on this one. And on this one, I really advise them to get legal counsel to make sure they are making all the correct calculations, because it will be quite costly for them if they don't.
Absolutely. And hopefully they have all of the data, so at least they have something to start with.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So the next one that I want to talk about in this segment is the PAGA Cure. And that is Private Attorneys General Act. And this was enacted in 2004. Oh, okay. And what PAGA did was allow employees to take actions against employers for pay penalties. Now, what employees would need to do is they would need to notify the employer and the Labor and Workforce Development Agency that there was some violation with not their pay, but their pay stub. Pay stubs are dictated by a labor code to have certain information on it. It must have exact information. And some of that information is the legal name of the employer, the address of the employer. So all of these things that we think would be pretty easy. But PAGA allowed employees to sue for any inaccuracies. So for example, if an employer's business name was WorkLogic HR Inc., but the pay stub did not include ink, the employee could sue. And not only on their behalf, but on all of their coworkers' behalf as well.
Wow.
And so what they would need to do is they would need to notify their employer and the Labor and Workforce Development Agency. The agency was then supposed to contact the employer, but if they didn't get around to it in 33 days, then the employee could go after the employer themselves. So hundreds and thousands of lawsuits were filed since 2004, and hundreds of thousands of dollars have been given to employees as a result of inaccuracies on pay stubs. In order to cure these frivolous lawsuits, we have the PAGA Cure. And the PAGA Cure says now that employees need to notify employers, and the employers get 33 days to rectify the situation. And so that gives them a grace period to get all of the details correct. So they can't just notify a government agency, the government agency doesn't get around to do anything, so the employee gets to do something. So now the employer has this grace period. But they need to make sure they get it right, because they can only fix it once in a 12-month period. So my advice for employers and HR professionals is go to the California Department of Industrial Relations website, and that's dir.ca.gov, to find out exact information that is supposed to be on those pay stubs.
Wow. Well, at least they made some improvement by getting the employer directly involved
Exactly.
with the remedy instead of having it come another route.
This is actually a win for employers, which is rare.
We'll take it. Oh, great. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be taking your questions.
I work in healthcare, a technology company,
I work in hospitality.
and the Society for Human Resource Management is working for us.
With 275,000 members, we're helping organizations thrive in a rapidly changing workplace. SHRM's competency-based certifications are setting the new standard, arming HR pros with skills that make the new workplace work.
Advancing HR.
So your workforce takes you where you want to go.
SHRM, the leading resource for human resources.
It's a new day for employee wellness. CalSHRM Awards is proud to introduce a new line of wellness programs. Our wellness programs offer a dynamic online platform that helps you bring healthy living initiatives to your employees through inspiring and instructive video programs that offer expert yoga, fitness, nutrition, and meditation video content. CalSHRM Awards wellness programs empower your employees to live a healthier lifestyle, and a healthier workforce is proven to increase overall productivity and reduce costly absenteeism. Under the trusted guidance of expert instructors, our videos make the journey to wellness engaging, fun, and easy. Accessible anywhere, anytime, our video content can be personalized to fit any fitness level and busy schedule. Our portal is incredibly affordable and can be customized with your company's messaging, making it unique to you. CalSHRM Awards, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
The California State Council of SHRM invites you to
Share with us.
Learn with us.
Grow with us.
CalSHRM represents more than 10,000 HR professionals across the state and continues to grow. To learn more, visit calshrm.org to find a CalSHRM chapter near you. CalSHRM, the ultimate resource for the California HR professional.
Welcome to CalSHRM Awards. Effective service award programs that merge technology with a human touch. Turnkey custom-designed service award programs reflecting your company culture. CalSHRM Awards, motivating your greatest asset. The smart way. Recognition powered by social media. Improving your process. Visit us at CalSHRMAwards.com, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
Welcome back to CalSHRM Insights. We're back with Robin Paggi and Susan Susko. Before the break, we were talking about fair pay, piece rate compensation, and the PAGA Cure. And now we're going to take some of your questions. Susan?
Thank you, Jan. Robin, does the increase in minimum wage affect piece rate employees?
It does, because now employers have to pay for rest periods and other non-productive time, and those have to be at least the minimum wage.
Thank you. Next question. Are there other things in addition to pay stubs that employers must use to tell their employees how much they are being paid?
Yes, employers are required to provide the anti-wage theft notification to employees when they hire them to let them know how much they are being paid at that time and if there's any pay increase. So one of the things the employers needed to do is that if they were paying people minimum wage, when the minimum wage increased on January 1st, they had to provide notification to the employee within 7 days that their pay had increased. Now, they could have done it on a pay stub if they were being paid by January 7th. If not, they needed to provide them with separate notification.
Great questions and great answers.
Yeah, definitely.
So remember our hashtag, CalSHRM Insights, and keep tweeting those questions, or remember you can text them to 916-900-2795. Let's go ahead, Robin, and move to your next topic.
Great. We're going to talk about school activity leave. And actually, the new legislation, or the modified legislation, is the Family School Partnership Act, or Senate Bill 579. Now, for employers that have 25 or more employees, the school activity leave has been in place for years. And a lot of times, employers don't even know that they are required to provide employees with this leave. I know when I do workshops, I frequently ask employers and HR professionals if they know about this, and usually they don't. So the existing law was that if you have 25 employees, the parent, guardian, or grandparents who have custody of a child have the right to be off work up to 8 hours a month, no more than 40 hours a year, to attend a child's activities. So these are baseball games, graduation, school play, what have you. And employers could require them to use vacation or personal leave or comp time if they have it, if they're non-exempt employees, in order to attend these activities. So that existing law has been in place for a long time that a lot of people didn't know about. Well, now that law has been expanded, and so there's even more now. And so instead of just the employee being able to have time off work to attend to a child in a licensed daycare or a school, now it can be any kind of child care facility. Instead of it just being for school activities, it can be for any kind of emergencies or finding, enrolling, and re-enrolling a child into a preschool, child care, or regular school. Instead of just parent, grandparent, or a person who is in charge, who has a custodial responsibilities, it now includes step-parents, foster parents, or people who stand in loco parentis. And loco parentis doesn't mean crazy parent, although I think it should. Loco parentis is, again, anybody who has custodial responsibilities. Instead of just using vacation time or personal time or comp time, they can now use sick leave. And all employers in the state of California, as of July 1st last year, are required to provide 3 days of paid sick leave. And so that time can be used for this purpose. And no retaliating against employees for using this time. So you have somebody who says, gotta go, my child's sick, and I need to leave work. The employer can't punish them in some way. So speaking of punishment, I want to talk about retaliation. And there are a couple of laws that went into effect that pertain to retaliation. And retaliation against whistleblowers has been against the law for a long time. Well, AB 1509 now protects the whistleblowers' relatives who also work for the same company. And so you can't retaliate against the person who blew the whistle, nor can you retaliate against anyone that they're related to who also works for you. And then another type of retaliation that's against the law is actually an amendment to the Fair Employment and Housing Act, or FEHA. And this is AB 987. Retaliation is against the law under FEHA for people who have disabilities and because of their religious beliefs. Also, people with disabilities are allowed to ask for accommodations for those disabilities, and people are allowed to ask for accommodations for their religious beliefs and practices. Now, this extension says you can't retaliate against employees for asking for accommodations, even when you don't give them to them. So why would employers punish people for asking for accommodations? I'm thinking that what might have inspired this is that somebody asked for what the employer thought was a frivolous accommodation, and that didn't bode well for them. And so what this is saying is that it doesn't matter what type of accommodation they're asking for, whether it's warranted or not, you can't retaliate against people for asking for.
So you can say no.
Yes.
You simply cannot retaliate or punish the employee in any
For
other way.
asking. Right.
Oh, okay.
So accommodations need to be reasonable, and that term the government likes a lot, and it's a difficult term because it's not specific. But for disabilities, the employer must provide a reasonable accommodation for employees who are disabled or become disabled, and same for religious beliefs and practices. If an employee needs some time off work, or they need their schedule modified or something like that, and they ask for that accommodation, employers must provide it if it is reasonable. But they don't have to provide every accommodation an employee asked for. They just now can't retaliate against employees for asking for those accommodations.
So if an employee asks for an accommodation and is denied, let's say on a religious exception of some kind, then their recourse then is based on that denial, but the employer still cannot retaliate by firing them or reassigning them to a lesser paying job or anything like that. Okay. That's great information, Robin. Thank you. Now, before we go to our next break, I want to introduce a new feature for this webcast, CalSHRM Resources. This segment is brought to you by the CalSHRM Awards store and will feature useful information that will save your company money. Let's go over to Erin for this great information. Erin?
Hey, thanks, Jan. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Len, the newest member of the CalSHRM Awards Storm team. And we're really excited to be bringing you this new segment, which we're calling CalSHRM Resources. The featured resource for this webinar is wellness programs. Wellness programs have often been viewed as a nice perk, but maybe not one that might provide a significant financial benefit to the organization. But new information from the Harvard Business Review tells a different story. By properly utilizing tax incentives and grants available under recent federal healthcare legislation, companies are now using wellness programs to take a bite out of enormous healthcare costs. As you all know, calculating return on investment can be tricky business. Some of the factors might include potential healthcare savings, increased productivity by employees, or maybe the not using as many sick days as they could have had available to them. Recent studies indicate that with proper utilization, a company could expect to get a $2.5 return on every dollar invested. Here at the CalSHRM Awards store, we're proud to be bringing these resources to your fingertips so that you can determine if a wellness program, a safety program, or employee recognition would be right for your company. Under the new Wellness tab, you'll see demonstrations of wellness programs in operation, and you can talk to experts. I will be at the Legislative Conference in April in Sacramento. I look forward to meeting many of you there. I'll be at the State Council booth representing CalSHRM Awards. I hope you'll drop by and say hello. And thanks again for watching the webinar.
Thanks, Erin. Now it's time for another quick break and a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to take some questions on school activity leave and retaliation. Be right back.
It's a new day for employee wellness. CalSHRM Awards is proud to introduce a new line of wellness programs. Our wellness programs offer a dynamic online platform that helps you bring healthy living initiatives to your employees through inspiring and instructive video programs that offer expert yoga, fitness, nutrition, and meditation video content. CalSHRM Awards wellness programs empower your employees to live a healthier lifestyle, and a healthier workforce is proven to increase overall productivity and reduce costly absenteeism. Under the trusted guidance of expert instructors, our videos make the journey to wellness engaging, fun, and easy. Accessible anywhere, anytime, our video content can be personalized to fit any fitness level and busy schedule. Our portal is incredibly affordable and can be customized with your company's messaging, making it unique to you. CalSHRM Awards, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
The California State Council of SHRM invites you to
Share with us.
Learn with us.
Grow with us.
CalSHRM represents more than 10,000 HR professionals across the state and continues to grow. To learn more, visit CalSHRM.org to find a CalSHRM chapter near you. CalSHRM, the ultimate resource for the California HR professional.
Welcome to CalSHRM Awards. Effective service award programs that merge technology with a human touch. Turnkey custom-designed service award programs reflecting your company culture. CalSHRM Awards, motivating your greatest asset. The smart way. Recognition powered by social media. Improving your process. Visit us at CalSHRMAwards.com, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
I work in healthcare, a technology company,
I work in hospitality.
and the Society for Human Resource Management is working for us.
With 275,000 members, we're helping organizations thrive in a rapidly changing workplace. SHRM's competency-based certifications are setting the new standard, arming HR pros with skills that make the new workplace work.
Advancing HR.
So your workforce takes you where you want to go.
SHRM, the leading resource for human resources.
Welcome back to CalSHRM Insights. Today we have Robin Paggi and Susan Susko in the studio, and we're taking questions on EVerify use. No, we're not. I've jumped a segment. I am so sorry about that. We are going to be talking about the next segment, which I just teased for you. Remember to tweet your questions using our hashtag CalSHRM Insights, or to text them to 916-900-2795.
We have questions about School Activities League.
Yes,
Yeah,
there we go. Thank you for putting me back in where I'm supposed to be. My apologies.
No
Now
problem, Jim.
we're at the question season, ready for you.
That was fun. Thank you. Robin, how much notice does an employee have to give in order to get time off from work for a school activity?
Well,
That's a really good one.
Here's the favorite answer: a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. So
What does that mean?
Yeah, the government provides this reasonable amount of time, and then they have employers try to figure out what's reasonable and what's not. And if the employer does a poor job of figuring out what's reasonable, the government then helps them, which
With hefty fines.
Yes, absolutely. So, all kidding aside, if it's a school emergency, I mean, what do? You say, I've got to go. My child is sick, or the school closed down, or something. And so that's that. But when it comes to activities, my child's graduating, there's a school play, something like that, a reasonable time might be a week. So employers can determine what a reasonable amount of time is, and they can stipulate that, as they should. I walked into a workshop one morning and I overheard a woman telling one of her coworkers that she was not allowed to go to her child's graduation. She said, and I asked if I could go to his graduation and I was told no. And so my ears perked up and I said, hey, that's against the law. They have to allow you to attend your child's graduation. When did you ask? And she said, this morning. And I said, when is the graduation? This afternoon. No, you don't get to do that. So you have to have advance notice. So employers can set that time period, what's reasonable for them based upon their business. How many employees they have, how they cover people when they're absent, those types of things. But that's one of the things that they should let people know. By the way, should letting people know is part of what employers are supposed to do with all of the rights that employees have to be off of work. And trust me, there are lots of, there are lots of reasons employees get to be off of work.
Right.
And a lot of times employers do not know all of these reasons that they are required by law to provide employees. And employers are not only required to know them and provide them, they're required to provide employees information about these rights to be off work.
Right.
And so this is one of the things that they usually do in employee handbooks. So it would be a good idea to put what a reasonable time period is in the employee handbook when people are requesting time off.
Absolutely. It seems like employers who don't know what all of those things are could be likely to err on either side of the equation. Give everybody everything they ask off, or give nobody what they're required to provide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happens frequently with employee handbooks is that employers get them off the internet. And often they are filled with all sorts of things that employers are not required to provide employees. One of the things that employers need to know is that laws kick in the more employees you have. So there are some laws, if you have one employee, it pertains to you. But then if you have 5 employees, more laws pertain to you. Then if you have 15 and 25, and then 50 is the big one, more laws apply to you. So the larger you get, the more laws that are going to apply to you. And employers need to know all of those laws. And if they just download a handbook off the internet, they might be providing people with all sorts of things they don't have the right to, but once it's in the handbook, they have to provide it. The other thing I think they're probably erring on is the side of not allowing people to be off work when they have the statutory right to be off work. And so that's one of the things that I do in my supervisory training is I provide supervisors with enough information about these laws that when they have an employee who says, hey, I need to go to my kid's ball game, and a supervisor's response would be, no, you're not, that they go, oh, this is one of the things we talked about, maybe I need to consult HR about this. So all sorts of things that employees may be asking time off for that supervisors have no idea about, and when they have no idea about it, they are breaking the law. And when a supervisor breaks the law, the employer usually pays for it, and it's not cheap.
No,
and so that's
never.
one of the reasons employers need to know about these laws. HR professionals need to know about these laws, but supervisors need to know about them also, because they're usually the ones out in the field doing the work that are answering these questions that they have no idea end up being legal questions.
And if they don't know to ask about it, then they could get themselves and their company in trouble.
Yes,
Wow.
and ignorance of the law is no defense,
That's right.
as we all know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think supervisory training, especially when it comes to liability in the HR realm anyway, is probably your best
Defense.
investment and your best defense, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Got another question for you on the previous topics. What actions are considered to be retaliation?
Well, Jan mentioned a couple a while ago, and that is firing somebody, demoting somebody. So retaliation used to mean basically messing with people's money. I'm going to take your money away from you by firing you, demoting you, changing your shift, doing all sorts of things to mess with your money. But recent court cases have demonstrated that retaliation also extends to just changing the work environment of the employee. So an example was that there was a woman who complained about her boss, and her boss would hold staff meetings every week, and people would have to be out at the front greeting customers when they came in and while the staff meeting was going on. So what the boss would do was rotate all of the employees so that everybody took their turn up at the front and everybody else could be in the staff meeting. After the employee complained, she always had to work the front. Now, you would think some employees want to get out of staff meetings, but she didn't. She wanted to be included in the staff meeting, and she didn't like the fact that she was always the one out front. So she sued for retaliation. And usually you would think, well, they didn't mess with your money, so it's not retaliation. The court said no. It changed her working environment, and so therefore that was retaliation. Yeah. So that's a great question, because employers and HR professionals need to know retaliation goes probably further than they think it does. And getting back at somebody can be in the form of just making them sit out front during a staff meeting.
Wow. Well, and anytime a manager is responding from almost a punitive place like that, is probably something to be worried about.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't make employment decisions because you want to get back at people. That's just going to get you in trouble.
That's whew. Well, again, great questions and great answers. Again, now that we're back on track, now that I'm back on track, you can tweet your questions using the hashtag CalSHRM Insights, or text your questions to 916-900-2795. And now we're going back to Robin, who's going to talk about EVerify use and Labor Commission Authority. Robin?
Yes. U.S. law requires employers to ensure employees can legally work in the United States, and they require them to show verification that they can do so. So that's been in existence for a long time. EVerify is an internet-based system that allows employers to check to see whether their applicants are actually allowed to work in the United States. Now, EVerify is a requirement for any employer who does work with the federal government. They are considered a federal contractor, so they must use EVerify. But any employer may use it. It's not against the law to use it. What it is supposed to be used for is that when you have a new hire, and on the first day of employment, they hand over their documentation to demonstrate that they are eligible to work here, the employer or HR professional can then get on EVerify and make sure it matches up. And so if it does not, then they have to go through notification to the employee that Social Security card doesn't match or what have you, and all of those things that happen when you have a no match. But employers are not supposed to check the eligibility of every single applicant, nor are they supposed to check the eligibility of people that have been employees. It's just after you make a job offer, when you're checking to make sure that the documentation you have been provided is verifiable, that's the only reason. Evidently, employers have been using it for other reasons, and so that's why we have this legislation in place now.
Do you know if there are any restrictions if somebody's already working in an organization but has applied for a promotion or a different kind of a job? Is there
You don't need to check for authorization when people are applying for promotions.
Because you should have already done it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then the final thing to talk about today is the Labor Commissioner Authority has been enhanced. I think everybody knows about the Labor Board. If you feel that you have been paid incorrectly, you go to the Labor Board, and the Labor Commissioner's job is primarily to make sure that people are getting paid properly. And so they want to make sure that employers are not failing to pay overtime, that they are paying minimum wage, that they're not making unlawful deductions, that they're forcing employees to work off the clock. So these are all things that are considered wage theft. And it's been determined that employers have engaged in wage theft by doing those things, not paying proper overtime, not paying for rest breaks, that kind of thing. So the Labor Commissioner's job primarily is to investigate these situations and try to rectify those situations. One of the things that was put into place to help in that effort was something that I mentioned a while ago, and that is the anti-theft wage notification. So Governor Brown, in order to try to help cure wage theft, put into the wage theft prevention law in 2011 that required employers to provide this notice. When I hire you, I have to give you a notice that says this is how much money you're making. And so that was supposed to try to help curb wage theft, is that now employees know exactly how much money they're supposed to be making. Well, it didn't. And so now SB 588 gives labor commissioners the authority to try to get money owed to employees by filing a lien on an employer's real estate, levying an employer's property, imposing a stop order on an employer's business to an assist employee in collecting unpaid wages. And so when there is a judgment against the employer. So the labor commissioner has a lot more authority than it used to in just investigating and trying to rectify. Now these are some pretty heavy duty things that they are authorized to be able to do in order to make sure employees are being paid fairly. One of the things about this law also that's pretty scary for anybody who handles payroll is that an aggrieved employee can file a claim against anyone who is acting on behalf of the employer. And so this is anybody who's doing the payroll. So this affects or creates individual liability for wage and hour violations by anyone who is acting on behalf of the employer. And so this is pretty scary for people who do payroll. Yes. So, you know, the thing is, what employers can do is just make sure they're paying people correctly. But some of the things that employers have done is that instead of rectifying the situation, they have closed down their business and then opened a business under a different legal name. Well, now SB 588 prevents that from happening. If it's a substantially similar business with the same employees, et cetera, it's the same business, even though you change the name of it. And one of the things that the labor commissioner can do now is require an employer to post a bond in order to do business in the state if it is determined that they have engaged in wage theft. And that bond amount can be from $50,000 to $150,000 depending upon the wages that are owed. And they can have their business license revoked also. So it's pretty serious stuff. But the thing is that employers need to pay people what they need to pay people. And so that's overtime. That's paying them for their rest periods. That's paying them at least minimum wage. That's paying them for all of the work they do and not allowing them to work off the clock. And so if you're doing all of those things, this doesn't have to be scary. Just pay people what you're supposed to pay them.
It seems so simple when you say it. Pay them what you're supposed to pay. But it's important that people understand
what they're
all of
supposed
the
to pay
complex
them.
laws that you're talking about. And the personal liability of an HR professional who is actually processing the payroll is pretty daunting for HR professionals, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's a lot of responsibility just keeping up with all of the current laws and then all of the new legislation and you know, and then, you know, doing the act, you know, at work. So it's
well, and mistakes are made.
Pressure.
And so that's one of the things that happens as well. And when people are on leaves of absence and those types of things, holiday pay, all of that, it gets a little tricky. And so yes, I was oversimplifying it. It does get tricky, but anybody who is handling somebody else's money, they need to know what they're doing. And so you want to make sure whoever is issuing your payroll knows what they are doing. And if they don't, that can be a big problem for the employer and the person who's issuing the payroll. One other thing that the Labor Commissioner is allowed to do because of Assembly Bill 970 is to issue citations as well. And so, again, they have a lot more authority than just going out and investigating and talking and things. They have the right to cite employers for not complying with paying people correctly.
And then we've got the PAGA Cure as well, right? We've got a little bit of fallback.
Well, but PAGA is not when you pay people incorrectly. PAGA is when their pay stub is not correct.
Only for pay stubs.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Thank you for the
Not the
clarification.
data. Yeah, not the
yeah,
data.
yeah. So
Pay stubs only.
that's
PAGA.
a
Okay.
whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, see, you're helping people in studio and the viewers of the webcast
There you go.
today. So it's a wide-reaching support you're giving. Well, we're going now to our last commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be taking the last few questions and hearing a brief summary from Robin. And then Susan will be updating you on upcoming events in your local SHRM chapters. Be right back.
Welcome to CalSHRM Awards. Effective service award programs that merge technology with a human touch. Turnkey custom-designed service award programs reflecting your company culture. CalSHRM Awards, motivating your greatest asset. The smart way. Recognition powered by social media. Improving your process. Visit us at CalSHRMAwards.com, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
The California State Council of SHRM invites you to
Share with us.
Learn with us.
Grow with us.
CalSHRM represents more than 10,000 HR professionals across the state and continues to grow. To learn more, visit CalSHRM.org to find a CalSHRM chapter near you. CalSHRM, the ultimate resource for the California HR professional.
I work in healthcare, a technology company,
I work in hospitality.
and the Society for Human Resource Management is working for us.
With 275,000 members, we're helping organizations thrive in a rapidly changing workplace. SHRM's competency-based certifications are setting the new standard, arming HR pros with skills that make the new workplace work.
Advancing HR.
So your workforce takes you where you want to go.
SHRM, the leading resource for human resources.
It's a new day for employee wellness. CalSHRM Awards is proud to introduce a new line of wellness programs. Our wellness programs offer a dynamic online platform that helps you bring healthy living initiatives to your employees through inspiring and instructive video programs that offer expert yoga, fitness, nutrition, and meditation video content. CalSHRM Awards wellness programs empower your employees to live a healthier lifestyle, and a healthier workforce is proven to increase overall productivity and reduce costly absenteeism. Under the trusted guidance of expert instructors, our videos make the journey to wellness engaging, fun, and easy. Accessible anywhere, anytime, our video content can be personalized to fit any fitness level and busy schedule. Our portal is incredibly affordable and can be customized with your company's messaging, making it unique to you. CalSHRM Awards, your most powerful resource for employee recognition.
Welcome back to CalSHRM Insights. I was told during the break that we may owe some of our viewers today an apology. We had a technical issue that took out the first few minutes, several minutes I understand, of today's webcast. Please understand that it was all recorded, however, and the full webcast, the full 1-hour webcast, will be available at CalSHRMAwards.com shortly after the webcast today. We apologize for anyone who felt like they missed some of our important information today, but it will be there on the recorded version. So we hope you'll check out what you missed. And again, our apologies. Today, of course, we have Robin Paggi and Susan Susko in the studio, and we're taking questions on EVerify use and Labor Commission Authority. So, Robin, what kind of penalty might employers receive for misusing EVerify?
Well, this is hefty, as much as $10,000 for each violation.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and so for each violation, I'm assuming that means that any employee that you look up or applicant that you look up. And so that's quite a hefty fine. So employers want to make sure that they are only using it for its intended purpose.
Right. Now, and everyone, you said it's not illegal for any business owner to use EVerify.
Correct.
It's only required by federal contractors.
Yes,
however.
people who do business with the federal government have to use it. Any employer may use it, but they only may use it to check that documentation that has been presented to them after they've extended a job offer is valid.
Right. Very good. Thank you. So another question here is, what kind of penalty might employers receive from citations issued by the Labor Commissioner?
Yes, so the citations is slightly different than levying a fine or that kind of a lien against the employer. And so in that, when I was talking about SB 588 and all that the Labor Commissioner can do, at that point, the penalties for those are $2,500 for the first offense and $100 for each calendar day that the employer continues to do business in violation of the law, up to $100,000. So that's for that one. Now, when they are issuing citations, those citations are $50 for violation for each employee per pay period for the first time. And then subsequent violations are $100 per employee per pay period for as long as they were being underpaid.
As long as they were being underpaid. I was wondering, could that be retroactive?
It is
So
retroactive.
just because the Labor Commission makes a ruling today, if they know that the violation has been going back for a year, then wow.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
could be very scary.
So the thing is, it is scary, and we're talking about all of this money that employers might have to pay, but they are being penalized for not paying people correctly.
Of course.
And so we all want what is our fair due, and so if employers don't want to pay out those big fines, pay employees properly.
Absolutely, and make sure that you've got all the information you need. So, Robin, that's it for your segment today, but do you have any closing thoughts for us?
I do. We talked about some laws that went into effect. There were actually 800 laws that went into effect in the state of California as of January 1st, 2016, just in the state of California. Now, fortunately, they weren't all labor laws, but these are just some of the employment laws that went into effect. So employers really need to know what all the laws went into effect that pertain to them to ensure they stay in compliance and they get to keep the money that they've worked so hard to earn.
Right. Absolutely. Great reason to have CalSHRM Insights webcasts so that people can find out about those laws. So thanks very much, Robin. We appreciate your knowledge and sharing it with us today. So now it's time for the CalSHRM update. Here's Susan with what's happening in your local chapters. Susan?
Thank you, Jan. Hi, and welcome to the CalSHRM chapter update, where we keep you updated on what's happening in your local chapters. First up, we have Bay Area Human Resources Association Executives Council, who would like to invite you to their upcoming event, Legal Landmines, Intellectual Property, Non-Competes, and More, featuring speaker Quentin Cooper, Juris Doctorate. Join them on March 16th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. For more information, visit bahrec.shrm.org. The Inland Empire SHRM invites you to bringing HR and finance together with analytics on Friday, February 18th at 11:30 a.m. Visit www.ieshrm.org for more information. Please join Kern County SHRM on March 2nd for an SB 358 update. covering hot topics involving Healthy Workplace, Healthy Family Act of 2014, and other urgent labor commissioner topics. Visit CalSHRM.com and register today. The Northern California HR Association invites you to attend the HR West 2016 annual conference from March 7th to the 9th. Learn more at nchra.org. North State SHRM invites you to attend Wage and Hour Issues, Perspectives of Counsel and Employment Litigator with speaker Ben Kennedy and Clark Malak. Visit northstateshrm.org for more information. The Professionals in Human Resources Association invites you to attend the California HR Conference from August 29th to the 31st in Long Beach, California. Visit pihra.com to learn more. The Santa Barbara HR Association is pleased to host Mullen and Hinzel's 21st Annual Employment Law Conference, March 3rd, from 8:15 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Please find more information at sbhra.org. San Diego SHRM is excited to provide the Spring 2016 11-week SHRM CP and SCP prep course, February 18th to April 28th. For more information, please visit sdshRM.org. Southern California Wine Country SHRM invites you to the Office Safety and Workplace Injury Breakfast Seminar, taking place on February 19th. For more information, please visit www.scwcshrm.org or email info@scwcshrm.org. The San Joaquin HR Association, SJHRA, is pleased to present the event Non-Exempt Employees, Wage and Hour Issues, From Watching the Clock to Meal and Rest Periods webinar on February 17th. Go to sjhra.org for more information. Central Coast Human Resources Association invites you to attend Conscious Hiring with Margaret Graziano, March 15th. Visit cchra.org to register now. Central Valley Human Resources Management Association is excited to present Supervisors, Your Most Important Liability, February 17th from 11:15 to 1:30 p.m. For more information, go to cvhrma.shrm.org. Your SHRM Tulare Kings Board of Directors invites you to their annual legislative update on February 16th from 11 to 1:50 p.m. For more information, go to shrmtularekings.org. If you have been a National SHRM member for some time or are a new member of National SHRM, we want to make sure you get linked up to a local chapter nearest you for excellent HR education and networking. Please check out the CalSHRM homepage and click on About and then California SHRM chapters to find more information you need on your local chapters. That's all for the CalSHRM update. Jan, back to you.
All right. Well, that's it for this session of CalSHRM Insights. I'd like to thank Denise. I'm sorry, Robin. What's wrong with me today?
You can call me Denise if you want to.
Thank Robin and Season for joining us in studio today. And behind the scenes, thanks to Charlie McKay of Saba Agency for directing, Tom Saba of CalSHRM Awards for producing today's webcast, and the TBC Media Studios. For those of you viewing for SHRM or HRCI credits, the information to claim your credits will be emailed to you by tomorrow at the latest. Make sure to tune in to the next CalSHRM Insights webcast on May 11th, where we will continue to provide the most recent California HR info. We'll have David Blaine in the studio talking about outdoor and indoor employees and summer heat issues. We're in the Central Valley, so we know about those. And of course, Season will be back to update you on local chapter news. I want to remind you that today's webcast was recorded and will be available for viewing at CalSHRMAwards.com. I'm your host, Jan Hefner, and this has been CalSHRM Insights. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.